Right, let's jump straight into this explainer and crack the code on a skill that is absolutely foundational for any kind of academic or professional writing. Welcome to Lesson 30, Language for Definitions. Today, we're going to learn exactly how to craft crystal clear, authoritative definitions that will impress literally any tutor, colleague, or reader you put them in front of.
We have all had that incredibly frustrating moment, right? You understand a complex, technical term perfectly in your head. You know what it does, you know exactly why it matters, but the second you try to put it down into a precise academic sentence, it feels totally impossible. It's like having a high-def picture in your mind, but it comes out as a blurry sketch on paper. It's either messy, confusing, or just way too simplistic. So how do we take that big idea and shrink it down into a single, bulletproof sentence? Well, before we build out our grammatical tool belt to fix this, we need to establish what a definition actually is in this context. A definition is a precise statement expressing the exact meaning of a word, concept, or technical term. And here is why this matters. Clear definitions are the ultimate proof that you truly grasp your subject matter. Put simply, if you can define it, you understand it.
To get us there today, we are going to treat sentence structure almost like a mathematical formula. We'll be breaking this down into 4 parts. 1, the core definition formula. 2, defining with prepositional phrases. 3, defining with relative clauses. And 4, crafting extended definitions. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the core definition formula. This is the basic equation every good definition relies on, and the logic here is an incredibly simple 3-step process. Step 1, state your term, the thing you're defining. Step 2, add your verb, which is usually just a simple is or are. And Step 3, place that term into a general class or category noun. You always have to tell the reader what kind of thing it is before you tell them what it does.
For example, think about this sentence. A wrench is a metal tool. A wrench is the term, is the verb, and a metal tool is the general class. Grammatically, totally correct. But as we can clearly tell, it's just not detailed enough yet. I mean, a hammer is also a metal tool. A saw is a metal tool. We really need to add some distinguishing details here.
And that brings us perfectly to Section 2, defining with prepositional phrases.
This is how we separate our term from everything else in its category. And notice the transformation that happens here. Instead of a vague baseline like a wrench is a metal tool, we just add the prepositional phrase for holding and turning objects. Boom! We've instantly transformed a vague categorization into a razor-sharp, highly accurate definition.
The best part is you can plug virtually any technical vocabulary into these prepositional chunks depending on what you're trying to express. Need to show purpose? Use for followed by an ing verb, like a device for measuring. Defining a field of study? Use of, like psychology is the scientific study of the human mind. Describing physical features? Grab with, as in spiders are animals with 8 legs. Or if you need to provide context, just use in, like materials in the construction industry. In fact, gold standard academic texts actively train students to rely on these exact phrases. They'll take a base term, say marathon, map it to a long race, and then immediately attach it to the phrase of about 42 kilometers. This is literally the standard language of academia. But sometimes, a prepositional phrase just isn't quite enough to describe a really complex action. Which leads us to Section 3, defining with relative clauses. You can think of these as your ultimate cheat sheet for action-oriented modifiers. When you use a relative clause, the pronoun you choose entirely depends on the category of your term. Defining a person or a profession, use who or that. Defining a thing, a system, or some abstract idea, go with which or that. And if you're defining a location, you just use where. Let's actually test this out in action. A psychologist is a scientist who studies and is trained in psychology. Because a psychologist is a person, our general class noun is scientist. We then just plug in the relative pronoun who to attach the essential defining actions, the studying, and the training directly to our baseline formula. Let's look at one more. A hierarchy is a system which organizes people into different levels from highest to lowest. Since a hierarchy is an abstract idea, our class noun is system. We then use the relative pronoun which to seamlessly connect that category noun to the critical active details of what that system actually does. Makes perfect sense, right? Okay, now for the grand finale. Section 4, crafting extended definitions. We're going to put all of these building blocks together to construct a bulletproof academic definition from scratch.
We always start with our baseline. Step 1 and 2, our term and our verb. The circulatory system is. Next up, we drop in our general category noun. This immediately grounds the reader so they know what kind of thing we're talking about. The circulatory system is a network. Now we need to give it some specific detail. What kind of network? We add our prepositional phrase using of. So now we have, the circulatory system is a network of blood vessels.
Almost there, but what does it actually do? Finally, we snap a relative clause using which right onto the end to describe the exact action of those blood vessels. Reading it all together, the circulatory system is a network of blood vessels which carries blood around the body. See what we did there? Layer by logical layer, we just built a masterclass of an extended definition.
And you are going to spot this exact grammatical equation used constantly across all disciplines now. Whether you're reading peer-reviewed papers in STEM fields, business management texts, or diving into the humanities, top-tier authors constantly combine prepositional phrases and relative clauses to clearly communicate really complex terminology without ever losing their reader. Just look at how effortlessly this heavy piece of tech jargon is demystified. A parallel processing system is a system of interconnected computers that work on the same application at the same time. We just took our base formula with a class noun, a system, added a prepositional phrase of interconnected computers, and finished strong with an active relative clause that work on the same application. The complex becomes completely accessible. So here is the ultimate question I want to leave you with today. Now that you actually have this exact grammatical formula, your baseline, your prepositions, and your relative clauses, are you going to use it in your next piece of writing? Because if you apply this framework to define your technical terms, you are going to leave your readers, your professors, and your peers wondering exactly how you became such an incredibly articulate expert. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy writing.